Hello everybody, and welcome to part 2 of my Andis dog trimmers rebuild at the moment. This is going to be a bit of a repair as well on here, although they don't want these parts replaced. They really should be, but we'll see where we get on. So I'm Simon and welcome to Oakside Saddlery. So first thing, when we cleaned these up, there was a little bit of plastic fell out the back. So that little bit of plastic should be somewhere in here, and I'm looking at this and there's a little bit there that doesn't look very good and something missing from there. So I'm guessing that's what holds that back on, which is why it was all loose when it was hanging at the front there. Likewise, these have got a little bit broken off of one corner just in there as well. There should be another little bit on that. That probably means they've been dropped. That little bit is the hair that come out from around the motor. So sometimes they're a bit slow, and the main reason on this one is a lot of that hair was caught in that bearing there. So that bearing's a little bit tight, but we should be able to free that up. Now then, let's have a look at getting it back together. So as we remember, these aren't the easiest ones to get apart. There's lots of bits that are held in place by other parts that grip it, in particular where the motor sits on here. The motor itself clips in place on these little bits at the back here. So sometimes these can be a bit funny. They're only loose, they're not connected in there, they're just free as they are. So we need to make sure they can sit on top of there nicely. So before we're going to do all that, I'm going to have a quick look at this bearing and see what I can free up on it. So I've got the hair out of it. I can't see any more hair in there, even though I'm in that sunlight. So we'll have a little drop of oil in there. See if we can't work that in. Get that excess off. That feels better already. Not so rattly now as it turns, so hopefully it should be a bit smoother. Can't do anything else wise on these because these are a sealed motor on there. All the bits are glued on, all the hair that's stuck in there, although we can get the most of it out, I can't get it all out. So this piece is going to sit underneath here with them screw holes sticking through there and them two bits connected up down there. So it sits under there, goes up in the air a little bit. We have to figure it out on working its way through because it likes to get caught. That's one side through. Screw holes are lined up there, and we just need to make sure at the back here we can just see in there they line up with them pins. Right, just going off camera. So back again, just managed to get them in there. They're not the easiest of things to do. These parts here need to clip either side of this. So it's quite awkward to get that in there. I couldn't see it from down when I have it in front of that camera. But that's our motor back in place. It sits in there quite tidily. Let's just get rid of that. I just spotted in the back there a bit of oil. I've just dripped on it. Sits in there quite tidily. It's quite a nice little motor. Works quite well. So that's all in there. Try and remember how all this goes back together now. So we have a switch as well. This has got to go on here. This is going to sit on the back part. The switch just sits in there. And it sits in a way that means when you move it backwards and forwards, it makes some adjustments. Let me have a look again. It goes. So then we can push on the switch on here, yeah? So it's just going to push into that. So that needs to sit in there. This part here clipped across there, which again, this is the bit with the bits that are broke off, so they would have sat in there somewhere. It's got a couple of little hooks on the front, so it hooks in there, sits over back. I'm going to see if I can line that one up a little bit better, see if it goes in. I don't think it's going to be honest. So that's in there. That might need a bit of glue or something on there to hold that in there if they don't want to replace it. Just means that if I come to take them apart again, it's going to be a pain in the bum. So that side sorted out. The back piece here, not too bad. It's going to sit on top of there, isn't it, and just clip into place. It allows the motor to sit in its rear part there, so just check that. So this is just going to sit in there, clip into place, and that should be it held there. So there will be 4 screws to hold that part together, We can do that, can't we? I'll find my screwdriver. There it is. So it's two little small ones there, wasn't it, at the front? They sit in there. Gonna have to go really steady with these little tiny ones. Another one here. I'm not going to tighten these up just yet. And it was the two bigger ones. They sit in there. That doesn't feel very good either. I think these have been dropped at some point. So not bad. Now we should be able to test these, because again the switch is here, this all works. Battery can sit on the back there, it connects into the terminals into a little plug up there. So it sits on the back of that. So we'll just put that in place and see whether we get it to go. There it is. And again we should have some speed adjustment. It sounds a bit better anyway. Yeah, let's switch them off, let's take the battery back out. They probably don't notice these bits being loose, because when you're using them they're all held together, aren't they, like this, so it's not a bad part for it really, I suppose. So we're going to look at putting these parts on. So we have one part is the blade carrier side here, which is going to sit on top of that motor, and the idea is what this does is it just moves side to side like that. It's not a complicated piece. The lock nut screws are up there, they're going to sit in here, so there's a couple of little pins just on there, so we need to line them up with the head, push it in. One of them doesn't want to go in. There it is, so that's in there. I can put these screws back in this. Not them screws, was it? It's these screws. And they're little Phillips ones, wasn't they? Yes. That one's in. That one's in. So let's not forget to put these two back in here before we get carried away with what I'm doing. They're going to sit in there. I have to have a little fiddle with them. One in. Back out. Wiggly things these today. Okay, when we let these go, just let the screwdriver do the work. Don't go too much with them. Back in place. So that actually don't even hold that on, does it? It just sits onto there. I wonder if it grips out. Yeah, it does grip that. So that's why that stayed on there, isn't it? So we have our blade carrier in place. It can move from side to side. Our clip fittings are going to go on there. It has a little bearing underneath it. So that part there is just going to sit under there. It's just like a little gasket, I suppose, takes off all the shocks and things like that from it. So we're going to line that up roughly. It'll only go where it wants to go. They can go two ways, these, it doesn't matter on them. They're just the same on each side. And then this is going to sit on top of there. These screws here, they had the Loctite on them. I'm not putting Loctite back on it because they're going to replace this, because apparently it's broken. No, it did feel alright to me. It was a different set that had a broken one. Okay, we're going to put these in. I'm not going to tighten them up straight away for the first go, so they're just going to push them in place. Because they're countersunk, it will push that where I want. So I don't want to tighten one up and have the other one caught up. So I'm just going to tighten that one up slightly. Tighten this one up slightly. Just starting to tighten up now. That one goes a little bit tighter. This one goes a little bit tighter. Starting to go tight. That one there's going tight. So now I'm going to tighten that one up properly. And tighten that one up properly. So that's our blades carrier and that all in place. This part here, again, this is the air filter side of it. When you get these, I make these wet so to clean them out. So I'm going to try and make sure I get all the moisture out of it. They should be nice and dry. They've been sitting in the sun for a while. I try not to rush when I put any of these back together. Once I get my part, leave them. This has to clip in place, so it slides in from there. So there's a little part on the back of that that fits onto that. It slides in from there. When it slides in, it should click in place, but because it's got one of them broke out, it's probably not going to stay in there, and you can see it doesn't actually fit really well. Problem is, you can buy lots of these parts, but by the time you buy all these parts, the battery on this doesn't hold a charge very well apparently either. You may as well just get yourself another set of clippers, isn't it? Because otherwise you're not going to get anything out of them. So batteries clip in place, and we have a set of clippers that actually run. So another set of clippers sorted. So they are Andis dog clippers, dog trimmers. Nice clipper, again, rechargeable. Must work quite a long time. They're one of the groomers ones near me. They're using them all the time, and they day in, day out. Not a lot to clean up on them apart from how awkward they are to get apart. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to click that like button, and remember to subscribe if you want to see some more. Thank you very much, and have a good day.